welcome back to Alice Talks Football, and welcome back to another live Manchester United news, transfer news, and update show. We're going to discuss all the latest on Garnacho and Santos. Manchester United looking at Andrey Santos and a swap deal involving Garnacho. Are Chelsea likely to agree to that? Probably not. But what I like about that is it's none of this Nkuku nonsense, none of this Nicholas Jackson nonsense. If we're going to do a swap deal with Chelsea, I've always said the one player that realistically they could do a swap deal for, that I would want to do a swap deal for, is Andrey Santos. He has similarities to Baleba in terms of his physical ceiling. And the big green flag of that is, at least it's Andrey Santos and not Nkuku we're in talks with Chelsea to do a swap deal for. There's a reason Chelsea might not want to do a swap deal for him, but United pushing on that door, and that has been brought up. We've got updates on a Gomez. Doesn't seem to be as advanced as Spanish media is suggesting. Reports of Sancho, Roma, Man United agreements, something. Don't think there's much in it. I think it's Italian media looking for clicks. We'll talk about Hojlund, and interestingly, we're going to talk about JJ Gabriel, the 14-year-old, or is he 15 now? Let me Google that. Regardless of whether he's 14 or 15, he's playing in the under-18s at such a young age, playing really well in the under-18s. He turns 15 in October, so he's still 14, playing in the under-18s. And he's been told that he's going to train with the first team at time. This is someone that is like seen as the left-wing version of Lamine Yamal. Like, that is what he's described of in terms of talent. There's a reason why Barcelona wants him, and United are doing everything they can to hold on to JJ Gabriel. Simon Stone said that Manchester United youngster JJ Gabriel has been told he can train with Ruben Amorim's first team at times and could be, even though he's too young to be part of the club's FAU Cup request this term. He's very highly rated, which is good to see. And, Barcelona want him. They see him as the next sort of Lamine Yamal on the other side. So if we can keep that player, it would be great. But we're going to dive into all of the news. Ben Jacobs has just been on the United Stand and given a few updates in regards to a lot of information. So make sure to check that out after this live show. But I'm going to talk about one of the many things Ben Jacobs discussed on the United Stand today. And we're going to talk about Garnacho, Santos, and more. But anyway, people, I hope you're all doing well. Let me know your thoughts down below. And yes, let's get into it. During discussions between Manchester United and Chelsea regarding Garnacho, Andrey Santos has been spoken about. United appreciate him, however, Chelsea don't want to sell. So this is what's been said. We've had discussions with Chelsea about swap deals. Chelsea tried to do something with Nkuku. I think we even mentioned Nicholas Jackson at one point. And while United appreciate Santos, Chelsea don't want to sell. Now, when you do business with Chelsea, they're always the team that's going to get the better deal. There's a reason they're trying to get Garnacho for 30 million. There's a reason we spent 60 million on Mason Mount. There's a reason they're offering us Nkuku and not Santos. When you do business with Chelsea, they take the mick out of you. Arsenal paid 52 million for Madueke. Chelsea are very good at doing business. But what I like is, Chelsea have got a player in Santos with, who's going to definitely get minutes, coming for Enzo Fernandez at times, coming for Casado at times. But they've got Lavia, if you can stay fit, that's good. They've got a Sugo that looks good. Chelsea do not want to sell Santos, and I don't think they'll be offloading Santos because he actually got some minutes versus Crystal Palace. And although he missed the sitter, he looked quite good. But Manchester United is saying, well, if you want to do a swap deal, we want Santos. Because we know that Chelsea aren't going to do a swap deal with anyone in their best starting 11. Nobody in their best starting 11 Chelsea are going to do a swap deal for. So we look at the Chelsea bench. Santos is coming back in. Maybe they can't promise him a load of minutes. I do think he'll get minutes because of the amount of games Chelsea have got. So United said, well, you know what? We're interested in doing a swap deal if it involves Santos. We can't get Baleba. Santos has got a lot of the physical attributes of Baleba. He would suit Manchester United's midfield well, but Chelsea are now saying they don't want to sell him. The longer and longer this Garnacho thing drags on, we should say to them, give us 50 million for Garnacho, or we'll do a deal involving Santos. And I like this because I like the fact that Manchester United have asked about Santos. I like the fact that Santos is the name that we've mentioned in the swap deal. We're having talks about Santos. I like that because John Murta, Richard Arnold would have taken Nkuku, would have taken Nicholas Jackson, whereas we are saying, well, we don't want the other players you're offering us. We want Santos because Santos would be a very good midfield signing for Manchester United. A very good move. Just look at the chat. Santos would be a smart move, physically very good, and don't know if he'll get the minutes at Chelsea. Santos is one of the players I'd take. But as someone said here, Santos is an asset for Chelsea FC. Please ask Amrin to keep Garnacho. Chelsea fans would not be happy if they swapped Santos for Garnacho, and there's a reason for that. But let's be honest, I don't think Santos is for sale. Chelsea don't want to sell him, but you can always put a certain amount of pressure on Chelsea. If the player puts pressure on Chelsea over minutes, potentially, like, I can't see a swap deal involving Garnacho happening. I think it will be Chelsea just pay out for Garnacho and it happens on deadline day. But what I like is that United are trying to get Santos because it would be a good move. I don't think Chelsea are going to give us Santos because he's a good player. He's not for sale. Santos not for sale, Casado then. Yes, please, exactly. I don't think Chelsea are going to give us Santos because they rate him highly. He's a good player and they don't want to sell him. There's a reason why Chelsea don't want to sell him, because Lavia is always injured. He's going to get those minutes. But what I like about it is, and I don't think we'll get Santos because Chelsea made it clear he's not for sale, but what I like about this is United are raising Santos' name in talks. That's what I like about it. Man United know what kind of players we need. And that fills me with confidence in this window. The hierarchy know what we want this time. Because I feel like sometimes we're always going for the wrong kind of players. The summer we went for Mason Mount, I said it, we should have gone for Moises Caicedo. We needed that kind of midfielder more. And it's just good to know that, okay, we went for Baleba. Baleba's the exact kind of midfielder we want. We went for him. We've looked at Adam Wharton. Palace will not sell because Eze's gone. Gay's set to go. But we're looking at the right kind of midfielders. There's links to a Gome, and we actually asked Chelsea about Santos. And I think it's the green flag of, well, at least they're looking at the right players. If we were looking at Palhinha, I would have been nervous. You know, Palhinha can be a good stopgap signing for Spurs, but he's a bit of an Agate. If all of a sudden we were looking for Palhinha, I'd be nervous. But the fact that it is Santos, the fact that it is Baleba, the fact that it is that kind of player that we are looking at, it fills me with more confidence. 0 chance for a swap deal for Santos. Furthermore, he's not for sale at all. Instead of you asking 50 million for Garnacho, please ask Amrin to keep him. I'm assuming you are a Chelsea fan that doesn't want Garnacho. I'm just telling you this now. Garnacho is better than George and Gittins, and he would start on the left wing for you. Yeah, we clearly need to offer Chelsea 25 million for Santos. Yeah, take the mick. If Garnacho is 25 million, then we'll offer you 25 million for Santos then. Just take the absolute mick as well. Santos plays in centre mid. Santos is probably the depth option they have for Caicedo, but he would start in our midfield, in my opinion, over Agate and Casemiro. Chelsea rejected 45 million from West Ham for Santos. Did West Ham actually make a move for Santos? West Ham, Santos. Yeah, Chelsea rejected a 45 million bid from West Ham for Santos. We value Garnacho at 50 million. Chelsea probably value Santos at 55 million. Meet in the middle, 50 million, swap deal, bish, bash, bosh. But I don't think Chelsea would do a straight swap. I think even though both players are probably worth the same, I feel like it would be us paying 20 million and giving them Garnacho for Santos. Like, I feel that's what it would be. He's a sub for Enzo, he's a sub for Caicedo. Like, I don't think Chelsea are going to sell him. Let's go and get Palmer for 50 million. I mean, if Chelsea are valuing Garnacho at 25 million, let's just try and put a 50 million bid in for Palmer, take the mick. Asugo, you think, is the backup for Caicedo. Is Santos the backup for Enzo? I still think Santos is more of a Caicedo backup than an Enzo backup. To be honest, I think Santos plays better deeper, but I've not watched him enough to say that with real confidence. So, obviously, it's been said that United are bringing up discussions and negotiations around Santos. United are speaking about it. United appreciate Santos, but Chelsea said to United, we don't want to sell him. Now, one sec. Now, there is people saying that Chelsea do not want to breach UEFA's cost control rules, so maybe it could put pressure on them to do a swap deal involving Santos, potentially. But I think Chelsea have sold quite well. They're in a better financial position than people think. Ben Jacobs was asked a lot on the United stand about Man United and midfield plans, because there's a reason for it. We need a midfielder. We saw that versus Arsenal. We need a midfielder. We need a goalkeeper, and we want Baleba. It's Baleba. Baleba's the only midfielder we've been in for. We like Adam Wharton. He's also not for sale. They are the two midfielders we like. But we keep saying, well, surely we can't go in to this season with just no midfield signing. We just can't. I know we got Casemiro, Agate, Bruno and Maina. That's 4 players. You know, we're not in the Champions League, but we just can't go into the season without a midfielder. You know, even if we're going for Baleba in 2026, at least bring in another name. And I know that Manchester United are sort of going for quality over quantity. There's no point bringing in someone for the sake of it. Let's get away from stopgap signings. We'll save the money for next year and get Baleba next year. But I still feel like we need a midfielder this year. And we've been talking a bit about the midfield links to Luciano Gomez. Are Manchester United going to go out there and sign a midfielder? That's been the big question, because we clearly need a midfielder. And I think the fact that we looked at Baleba was a green flag, but we can't get him. We've looked at Santos, green flag, probably can't get him. So I do look at it and say, well, a Gomez is probably the option. But is there anything going on with a Gomez in Man United? This is what Ben Jacobs had to say. He said on the Gomez links, I'm not sure there's a great deal developing. The player is available for 25 to 30 million euros. I'm certainly not under the impression at this stage that anything in particular is advanced. However, there's 10 days left of the window. It can go from 0 to 100 quickly. So as of now, Ben Jacobs is saying, as far as he's aware, as of now, nothing is going on with Gomez. Fabrizio Romano said yesterday, as of now, Baleba is the only midfielder that United are actively in for. But anything can change, and anything can change quickly in the current state of the window. Guys, I'll be back in 5 seconds. I just need to quickly... Okay, I am back. So we obviously need a midfielder. My worry is that we do go into this season without signing a midfielder, and I think that is not fair on Amorim. I get there's no point bringing in someone that just isn't good enough, and then we have less funds for Baleba next year. I get that, but we really need a midfielder, and we really need someone that's going to be the perfect long-term partner to Maino. So if we can get a good quality midfielder this summer, we go for it. Casemiro's leaving next summer. There's going to be a lot of money saved in wages. Get Baleba in next summer, because realistically, we need 2 midfield additions anyway, because Agat is probably not part of the long-term plans. Casemiro's gone next year. Bruno could be gone next year. We can get one good midfielder in now, one good midfielder in next season, because I don't want to go into next season, or this season, as we say, because we started. I don't want to go into this season without a midfielder. But Ben Jacobs was saying, look, there's been a link to a Gomez. He's available for 25 million pounds, but he's not aware of anything being advanced. It looks like maybe Spanish media have linked us to a Gomez, maybe more. Do you know what I mean? There is rumours of Camavinga, but I don't think there's much in the Camavinga rumours. There is rumours of a Gomez, but it doesn't feel like any of these rumours are really credible. You know, Romano's saying as of now it's only Baleba. We've spoken about Santos. We've gone to Chelsea about Santos. We appreciate Santos. Chelsea don't want to sell Santos. We appreciate Baleba. Brighton don't want to sell Baleba. We appreciate Wharton. Palace don't want to sell Wharton. I don't know if we're in for Living Kamara. I don't know if we're in for a Gomez or Hayden Hackney. But there's nothing credible to say that we are in for them, and they're good alternatives. But are United just saying, well, we'll just wait till 2026? Are we going to do anything in midfield? I don't know. I hope we do. Just having a look at the chat. Do you think we'll sign a goalkeeper? Potentially Lemens, but I think if we sign a goalkeeper, it's Lemens, but I don't know for sure. Well, you puffing in vape like Garnacho, that made me laugh. No, I don't vape. I mean, Garnacho just does all those little things. Like, at the end of the day, like, most kids Garnacho's age vape. But it's like, if you're a professional footballer and you're just holding a vape, it's just not a good look, is it? It's not a good look, because it's not good for his lungs as a footballer. But who's the dream signing? Baleba. Who's dream signing that's not Baleba? Casado. Imagine we go to Chelsea. Right. You value Garnacho at 25 million. We value Casado at 50 million, and we put in a 50 million bid for Casado. They'd absolutely do one. Imagine. Look, Casado would be great. Cole Palmer would be fantastic. Cole Palmer is the perfect signing for Amorim's system. Actually, not so much now. We've got Mbeumo and Ahmad. Look, there's a lot of players at Chelsea I want, but let's be honest. Any player that we want from Chelsea Football Club, Chelsea aren't going to sell us. They'll give us some Cuckoo. They'll give us Nicholas Jackson. They'd have given us someone like Broha. But realistically, who would we sign from Chelsea? Santos. They don't want to sell him. We'd sign... I don't know if we go for Lavia because of injuries, but I think they could potentially sell Lavia because of injuries. We'd want Santos. They won't sell him. We'd love Casado. They'd tell us to F off. We love Cole Palmer. They'd tell us to F off. Like, they're the players from Chelsea that I'd want, but we're never going to get them. João Pedro would never get as well. Don't need him as much. That's the problem with dealing with Chelsea, is we've said, look, well, we're interested in doing a deal involving Santos, and Chelsea have been like, no, we're not doing a deal involving Santos because Santos is good. They don't want to give us anyone good. They want to buy our good players for cheap. But yeah, there is rumours of Camavinga. There has been links recently about Manchester United having interest in Camavinga, but I just think it's made up. I just think the Camavinga links are a little bit like Man United need a midfielder. Man United fans would get gassed if they read this. And there's always a reason why Real Madrid want to sell their players to you as well. United should go for Lucien Agome now. If Lucien Agome really is 20 to 25 million and Manchester United are 100% sure they cannot get Baleba this window, then they should go for Agome. My hope is that if Rasmus Hojlund gets his permanent exit and Garnacho goes to Chelsea for 50 million this week, maybe on deadline day we test the waters and put in a bid for Baleba. Also, Camavinga is injury prone, and Madrid wouldn't sell a player unless there's a problem, and if they're looking to sell him, there's a reason. So yeah, I'm with you. I'd only loan Camavinga because it's a lot of money for an injury prone player. There is a deluded part of me that just thinks surely maybe we're going to send a Baleba bid in late, because we've been linked to Agome, we've been linked to this player, we've been linked to that player, but none of these links are credible. As of now, Romano's saying the only midfielder we're looking at is Baleba. And is that for 2026? We've done the groundwork, it's just for 2026? Or are we looking at Baleba, even though we're no longer in for Baleba? Are we looking at Baleba, even though we're no longer in for Baleba, sorry, to, like, plan for next year? Like, not get any signings, get Baleba next year? Or are we still maybe secretly in for Baleba? I didn't word that well. I'm tired. But Baleba's the only midfielder we're reportedly interested in now. Is that because we're planning something late and pretending we're not to make it easier to sell Garnacho and Hojlund so other clubs think we've done all our business and we're happy and we'll actually just pay up and not have anything to leverage us with? Because if Chelsea knew we were going for Baleba on deadline day, they would use that as an excuse to stall Garnacho. Whereas if we're saying we're no longer in for Baleba, we sell Garnacho, we then get the money. Could we do something on deadline day? Maybe, but I don't know if that's just copium from me. But we've been linked to a lot of midfielders, but none of it's credible. The only midfielder we're still actively in for is Baleba, but that's to get next season. But we're still only looking at him, apparently, according to credible sources, which means either something's going to change quickly, we're going to look at another midfielder, or we decided it's Baleba or no one this window, or maybe we're planning something late for Baleba. I think we'll get him next summer. The player apparently is a Man United fan. He's given them some kind of verbal agreement. I think we'll get Baleba next summer. The Agome link did feel like we were moving away from Baleba, but would go in for a late bid. Yeah, I just don't know how true the Agome news is. Like, I don't know how true the Agome links are, because it's come out a lot from Spain, but it's not like credible. So I don't know what the truth is behind the Agome links. Long-term plan is Baleba and Wharton. Yeah, for me, if Bruno and Casemiro go next summer, it's going to be expensive, but Baleba and Wharton. Basically, my mindset is get Lemens this summer, get maybe a cheap midfielder in this summer to do a job. Next summer, you just get Baleba and Wharton, and that's the business you focus on. That would be class. Baleba and Wharton midfield. Got Maino as an option. Agate will be good for certain games for depth, but you don't want a guy starting week in, week out. That's decent midfield options going into the next year. Baleba and Wharton would be the dream, but I don't think we're going to do that. But look, I would take the swap deal in a minute easily for Garnacho and Santos, because I really rate Santos. But there's a reason why Chelsea don't want to do that. So Brighton thinking Brighton's thinking it's sell for 115 million with 100 million sweet cash. We don't know what Brighton's price tag is. Brighton refusing to give Man United a price tag, which was making it difficult. But I do sometimes think if we made 100 million bid on deadline day, could Brighton cave? Who knows? Does our new forward line change the equation in midfield? I'd like to see a few games with Sesko and Mbeumo, Cunha, Ahmad before deciding what's best for behind them. I get what you mean. What I quite liked is I thought Cunha was dropping deep at times and always being an extra body in midfield, winning the ball back. I think, for me, there's certain games where one midfielder is going to be better than the other, but it is sort of figuring out our attacking dynamic, how they play together. to an extent. Like, I think our best midfield is probably Bruno and Casemiro as a pivot too, but there's still limitations for them out of possession, which is an issue. I still think it's criminal Bruno didn't leave if that offer was real this summer. Well, Bruno wants to play in the Premier League and not go to Saudi because the Saudi League is just not the Premier League. Like, I get why people are like, oh, we could have done with the Bruno money, but if Balaba's not for sale, even if we did sell Bruno and we had the Bruno money, that doesn't mean we get Balaba. Like, Bruno decided he wanted another season at Manchester United. He wanted another season in the Premier League. He is our best player. Does Bruno suit Amorim's system? Probably not. He's, his best role isn't the pivot or isn't a 10. His best role is a 10 in a midfield 3. We don't currently have that at Manchester United in the way we set up. We set up in a midfield 2. So while the system doesn't fully suit Bruno, we're going through so much change that having the stability of Bruno, the captain, is a good thing for Manchester United to have, because at the end of the day, he might have been pretty poor versus Arsenal, but he's our best player. And he doesn't fully suit the system, but he's our best player. And in moments when things go dark, he'll be there to turn it around and he'll be there to save us. So some people are annoyed that Bruno didn't go to Saudi. But look at it as a green flag. He could have tripled his salary or doubled his salary, gone into Saudi Arabia, but he wants to stay at Man United because he's got the right personality, he's got the right mentality. And that's what I like about Bruno. He's got the right personality, he's got the right mentality. Not wanting to go to Saudi, whether you wanted to sell Bruno or not wanting to go to Saudi is a green flag of his personality. So I get some people wanted him to go, but I think we'll need Bruno this year. I don't think he was good versus Arsenal. I think Bruno's our best player, but I don't think he had a good game versus Arsenal. Continuing on into news and stories, we've got some updates coming in on Jadon Sancho. Roma and Manchester United have agreed on a €17 million fee for Jadon Sancho. Negotiations continue, with Sancho demanding a €6.5 million salary, while Roma aims to lower it to €5.5 million. His entourage's €10 million commission is a hurdle, potentially requiring United to offer a severance package. €10 million in commission. That's £8 million. His commission is more than 50% of his transfer fee. In what world do you think that Man United are going to sell you and spend half of your transfer fee on commission to make you leave? Jadon Sancho and his agent are stupid. I want him to go. He won't go. He won't leave. He's got offers from Chelsea, Roma, clubs in Italy, clubs in Turkey, clubs in Saudi, but he's clearly trying to run down his contract. He's basically trying to convince Man United into giving him £10 million to basically leave the club, which is a joke, which is an absolute joke. Some people say pay it and get rid of him, but you let him win. 10 million just to leave. You let him win. Yeah. The reports on Sancho have contradicted themselves all summer. 1 minute he cost this amount, the next minute he cost that amount. 1 minute he's going to this club, the next minute he's going to this club. No one knows what's happening with Sancho, but what we do know is Sancho's going to go to whatever gives him the most money. And right now, getting the most money is staying at Man United. It is staying at Man United or threatening Manchester United, saying, I'm going to stay here unless you pay me out. So yeah, Sancho, money grabber. Anyway, I saw Academy Scoop mention this, and they said that Ruben Amorim was pictured with 18-year-old forward JJ Gabriel. Despite being just 14, Gabriel has caught the attention of United senior figures, including Amorim and the staff, and is set to be fast-tracked relative to his age mates. His game week 1 performance against Everton's under-18s, where he started as a left winger, was an impressive indicator of his talent, especially considering how many years he's playing up. We got a guy playing 4 years up for under-18s, looking really good, that we were worried about losing out on because Barcelona were interested in this and that. But we're doing what we can to keep him happy. We're doing what we can to keep him. And according to Simon Stone, he'd actually been told he can train with the first team squad a few times. So hopefully we do end up keeping JJ Gabriel. So in terms of the Manchester United news, right now, Hojlund is in talks with Napoli. He wants a permanent. We'll wait and see if Napoli's willing to do a permanent. Could be a loan with an obligation to buy. Probably most likely going to be a loan with an option to buy. So there's that going on in regards to Napoli. And Hojlund wants to go, and he decided he wants to go finally, but wants an obligation. Manchester United have inquired about Santos. They want Santos, but it looks like Chelsea aren't going to sell him. Obviously, Eze's gone to Arsenal out of nowhere, And of course, obviously, as we were talking about, JJ Gabriel to potentially be fast-tracked. We also were mentioning Sancho and Roma, Man United and Roma agreeing a fee, but Sancho wants us to pay him out. Ben Jacobs said he's not aware of anything going on for Gomez yet, but things could change. And Ben Jacobs mentioned that, United had spoken about Santos, but Chelsea don't want to sell him. So yeah, that is all your transfer news and Manchester United news. Thank you for watching. See you next time. Bye.